Hello, welcome to Thursday, the 18th of January, and our musings for this week. I am coming to you with a recorded video this week rather than live, just due to a few logistical reasons, but nonetheless, it is all still the same. How are you? I hope that you have had a good week so far and that you are settling into the energy of January. If you are in the UK and you're under some snow or some ice, I hope you're keeping warm and that life is treating you well. Let me know once you catch this how things are with you. It's an interesting set of cards this week. I've been chatting to people this week about healing and spirituality. Obviously, next week is my 5-day experience Heal, which I'm so pleased. There's so many people have signed up, and it's going to be such an exciting time. I love doing this particular free event because it gives people an opportunity just to tap into different aspects. You know, there's meditation every day, but we do card work. We'll do a little bit of pendulum work this time round. We're going to do a little bit of energy work and healing work and sort of diving in. So it gives people a little bit of a taste of everything, and also an opportunity to see what it's like to work with me. But I've been talking to people about that this week and about healing and about spirituality and about what they think spirituality means to them and what healing means to them and all the different things, because I love to get everybody's points of view. So if you haven't already shared that with me, feel free, drop me a note, drop me a comment, whatever's easier for you, and let me know what your concept of healing is and what your concept of spirituality is. But as I pulled today's cards, I could see a real theme. There's a clear theme in the cards, and it's kind of like nearly a reading of two halves. There's an aspect of, really needing to surrender, but nearly us fighting against that because we want to be in control. We want to, we need to know all the answers, and we need to know them right now. And if we can't find them right now, then we get really dissatisfied. So there's an aspect of boredom and dissatisfaction in the need to surrender. There's also an aspect of maybe being lost and not sure which way to go and feeling like you're completely drowning in life. But on the other hand, there are positive aspects because we've got the gorgeous 10 of cups. So it's not all bad. We've got this positive aspect of joy and love and happiness and contentment and fulfillment. And also a nod to spirituality and seeing beyond the veil with the high priestess. So interesting card. So let's just dive in. As always, I am using the Light Seers Tarot deck by Chris Ann. As you know by now, these are my current cards that I'm working with, and I like to stick with them just for the moment. So you can let me know what your favourite deck is as well if you work with cards. So let's take a look. We've got the moon. The moon card has come up this morning for me, and it depicts, this woman floating in deep water underneath a full moon with a black wolf and a white wolf on either side of the moon, stars in the sky, and she's on her back floating in the water. And you don't know whether she's sinking or whether she is floating. And again, it depends very much, I suppose, on how you're feeling at the moment. You might be feeling like you're drowning, like you've just, maybe a lot of emotions are coming up for you. Maybe you're not sure which way to turn. Maybe you just feel like everything's coming at you at once and it's like, oh please, and you're just drowning. And the message behind that is that this card says if you just relax and surrender to it, you then begin to float and you start to rise back up. And so there's an aspect of this card with the moon. The moon is all about that deep intuition and that feminine energy, that lunar energy of tapping into cycles and seasons and tapping into the magic and the mystery and not always needing to have all the answers at your fingertips. We don't always know. And I was speaking to some of my community members this week in our development circle. We were doing some automatic writing on Tuesday night, and some of them were trying to get answers to things that were trying to get answers from their guides, from their higher self, from their intuition about stuff that's going on. And it's not always forthcoming because sometimes it's not the right time for us to know. Sometimes it's not really when, we think we know best for ourselves. We think that we need to know everything right now. We've got quite we've got quite impatient, I think, in today's society because we have this ability now to have everything at our fingertips. You know, we want to watch a program, we can stream all episodes. We don't have to wait anymore for them. You know, if we want something delivered, we can just have it delivered same day or next day. If we want something, we go get it and it happens fast. And I think it's made us quite impatient because then when we don't have instant answers and we don't know what's going on right now, we get a little selfish, we get a little pissed off, we get a little bit, you know, I just want I just want this and it's maybe not the right time. So the moon card is asking us to surrender. It's asking us to surrender to the depths of our emotions. It's asking us to step into the darker part of ourselves and rest easy there in the unknown. It's okay to not know. It's okay to not know exactly how everything's going to pan out. It's okay to not be in control of every little thing. Because trying to be in control of every little thing is hugely exhausting, isn't it? When we try and sort of control how it's all going to flow and what's all going to happen, and, you know, I'm going to do this and then this will happen and then this will happen. And then that doesn't actually happen, and you get really dissatisfied and you get really disillusioned. Yeah. So I would ask you, as you know, this time next week we have a full moon. So we're building up, that energy's building up to a release potentially next week. What about we just relax into the unknown? What about we just surrender to the fact that it's okay to not know right now? And it's okay just to float into those emotions and let what's there be there. Let it come up. Yeah. I'm doing some work this month with the fabulous Kate Hogan in a program called Untamed, and we're working through releasing different aspects of our voice and where it gets stuck in your body. And I'm doing a lot of sort of personal work as well this year with releasing emotions that have got stuck. You know, the issues in the tissue, as one of my yoga people say. Um, and it's so true that we need to release. And sometimes that emotion can overwhelm us. Sometimes it can feel a little bit scary to do that. We don't necessarily want to step into that shadow side of ourselves, but it's in the shadow that we find our strength. So the moon's here to remind you that it's okay to not know. It's okay you're not drowning. If you stop struggling and allow yourself to relax, you will float to the surface. And then it's almost like when you stop trying to strive for the answers, they become clear. Isn't that always the way? You know, we're constantly trying to get an answer, trying to get an answer, trying to get an answer. And when we stop looking for it, then it comes. So maybe just relax into the unknown, relax into your emotions. Maybe look at where you're feeling a little bit of fear and tap into that. Okay? Because sometimes the magic's on the other side of that fear. The other card that came up that was making me think that there is a little bit of dissatisfaction and boredom. Sorry, the sun's kind of shining on my cards here today, but it's nice. I don't want to close the curtains because it's such a bright day, even though it's cold. So we've got the Four of Cups here, and it depicts this girl sitting, and she's looking quite bored, sort of sitting with her hand up at her head, just like, you know, and she's kind of looking over into just like empty bowls, empty cups. And behind her, just out of her peripheral vision, there's a gorgeous, beautiful rainbow and a cup full of all this gorgeous joy. All right. So if you're watching this video, you can see the card. If you're listening to the audio, if you get a chance, you can check the imagery that's coming with this post, and you'll be able to see the card. But it's almost like the card's reminding us that we choose where to place our focus, right? So we can choose to place our focus on everything that's wrong and everything that's just and a bit boring and a bit, you know, it's a little bit like, I kind of feel sorry for January. January gets a bad rep. Okay. And people are like, oh, I hate January. It's so long. It's such a cold month. It's this, it's that. And they're choosing to focus on all those negatives instead of maybe choosing to focus on something more positive, looking at your blessings. Yeah. So the Four of Cups is saying to me, it's really easy to get bored and dissatisfied, and especially coupled with the moon energy too, where you can get into that funk of, oh, it's all just worth nothing and it's really bad, and you just go into this terrible sort of spin and get sucked into like this real lethargy and dissatisfaction and boredom. Now, I'm a multi-passionate individual. I'm also an artist and I get easily bored. So I can identify with this, that sometimes I can fall into that. I'm also a Capricorn. So, sometimes we can be a bit morose and it's easy to fall in there. But I have learned over the years to start to shift it when I feel it coming rather than camping out there, you know? I mean, because if we look at this card, we can see that just outside her peripheral vision, there's a lot of magic. Yeah, there's this gorgeous rainbow of energy just outside her view. And if she would just lift her head and look round, she would see it. And I think that's very appropriate in life, in that when we stop struggling, we stop trying to control everything and we relax and surrender, like the moon suggests, then we start to see the magic. We start to notice the good stuff. So I think our challenge this week is really just to notice when we're falling into that pit of negativity or we're starting to wallow. It's really easy to do that as well because there's such a fearful energy in the world at the moment. All the talks of war and everything and all the illness that's about at the moment, and everybody's sick, and it's like, oh, it's easy to go, oh, I just want to hide away from it all. I just want to throw myself in this big this big lake and just stay out of the way, like. But the Four of Cups is asking us, okay, you have the choice. You have the control. You want to control everything outside of yourself, you can't, but you can control you. You can control how you respond, how you react. You can choose to look for positives where maybe you're seeing clouds. Maybe it's time to look for the silver lining in them. It's not about toxic positivity. It's absolutely valid and important. And as the moon says, really important that we express and honour and allow our emotions to flow. But it's also really important that we don't camp out and stay in a negative spiral where we then become really dissatisfied and in a big funk about life. Because if she just lifts her head and sees the magic, then perhaps she will see this gorgeous Ten of Cups. The Ten of Cups reminding us that there is a wealth of love and support and heart-centered gorgeousness all around us. We have that love within us. We can choose to show that to ourselves. We can choose to show that to our friends, our family, to our neighbours, to the people around us, to a stranger on the street. We have that within us to do that. Imagine if we all did that. Imagine if we were all just that little bit kinder. This is why I love teaching Reiki as well, because Mikao Usui, the founding father of Reiki, his goal, his dream was that Reiki would be spread out into the world and that more people would learn this gorgeous healing modality. And the fact that, but when you learn Reiki, when you step into a level 1 class, you learn about all that deep compassion and that love and that the principles of Reiki about, just for today, I'll not anger, I'll not worry. I'll be grateful, I'll be honest, I'll be kind. And those principles really become your guiding light and they really help you start to open your heart and spread that love and compassion. Just imagine if everybody did that. Imagine what a different world it would be. So the Ten of Cups is here to remind us, we can have our happy ever after. We can decide what that looks like for us. We can decide how we want to spread love and joy and compassion into the world rather than spreading dissatisfaction and negativity. We have that at our fingertips. We can do that. We are in control about that. Ten of Cups is a gorgeous card. It depicts the two people sitting just on a rainbow, looking at kids playing in the distance, and there's all these gorgeous cups, and it's all the colours of the rainbow and the swirling stuff. And there's a little bit of darkness at the bottom of the card, but it's underneath them. It's like that's grounded them. It's nearly like they have emerged from the darkness, almost like by the time they have dived into their shadow and faced their fears, and started to switch their focus from being, you know, looking at the negatives into the positives, that all of a sudden they've unlocked their hearts and they've unlocked this magic and this wealth of abundant, infinite, beautiful happiness and fulfillment. And this card kind of reminds me of, it's the two cards together, the Four of Cups and the Ten of Cups together, for me are kind of saying, it's nearly like that journey that I was speaking about earlier this week, about the journey of learning to know yourself. You have to go through that dark night of the soul sometimes before you really know who you are, before you can emerge into this happier sort of Ten of Cups energy. You've got to sometimes go through the shedding and the peeling of the layers of the big onion that I always talk about. Like, healing's like a big onion. You're constantly peeling the layers of it. Yeah. So maybe just consider that if you are in the midst of the dark night of the soul, if you are in the midst, it will pass. It will pass. You have the control as to how you choose to respond and react to what's going on around you. That is the one thing you do have the control over. Okay. And then we end with the beautiful High Priestess. So our reading's flanked with two major arcanas. We've got the moon at one end and we've got the major arcana card, the High Priestess, at the other. And then we've cups in the middle. So there's a real heart-centered vibe to this. There's an emotional energy about this. And the High Priestess is letting us know that she has a foot in each world. She has a foot in the physical world and in the spirit world. She can help us see through the veil. We can see through to the other side, but only when we know who we are, only when we rest in the knowledge of surrendering to that divine will, surrendering to the wiser intuition, to our higher self, then the answers come for us. You know, the High Priestess is a gorgeous card. You know, the woman sitting here, her third eye is lit up. Gorgeous teals, some of my favorite colors, this beautiful pink, sparkly energy behind her, all the upper chakras all lit up as well. Like that deep connection to the above. The thing about the High Priestess is that, you know, she is very, very connected to the cosmos and to the higher vibrational energy, but you can guarantee she is bloody well grounded too, because you can't hold that type of energy without grounding it. Okay. And, you know, she is serene. She is sitting there. She is calm. She's pulling that energy into her body and grounding it. Okay. And this is the thing that we need to do when we're opening up to spirituality, when we're opening up to our intuition, when we are learning who we are and we're remembering that we have this infinite potential to create our own reality at our fingertips. We need to ground that into actual 3D reality here on Earth. We have to have a foot in each world in order to benefit the best from it. So how do we do that? Well, we've got to move it through our bodies. We've got to stay present. You know, we can't just go off into airy fairyland and stay there. We've got to actually live a human life. And I think the cards this week, there is this real dichotomy between the human humdrum mundane day-to-day life that we have and the spiritual reality, and we've got to blend the two. And we've got to blend the two together to be the High Priestess. And I think the cards are fabulous. I love them. I love them. And there is this real push and pull energy again this week. Like always, energy isn't, it doesn't sit still. It constantly fluxes and changes and flows and goes into little pools and all these different things. And it's about stepping into that flow. The High Priestess is about stepping into that flow. And what I'm really excited about is that hopefully next week during Heal, I will be able to demonstrate to you how easy it is for you to pull that information down and to ground it in your physical reality, to create practices that are grounded in safe, stable, easy to do practices that will help you remember who you are and will help you pull that wisdom in and will help you then step out of this boredom space into this beautiful love and compassion, helping you surrender to the unknown and be okay with it, helping you step into your emotions and understand who you really are, which in turn then will open the veil and help you develop your healing abilities and your spirituality and your path to fulfillment as you remember who you are. So let me know what you think once you have a chance to catch this reading. I would love to know if the cards spoke to you. Leave me a comment, hit me up with a DM or an email, whatever you need. And if you haven't already signed up to Heal, I'll drop the link into the description of the video so that you can do that. And I will see you all next week.